let's begin our second video lesson on subtracting fractions when you may or may not have to regroup. Since this is regrouping lesson and I'm teaching you how to do it, most of them will involve regrouping. Be prepared. I am doing 6 of these with you. I have an example of each type, so I think that should empower you to do the rest on your own. We'll start with number 1. Remember, with fractions as well as any other number, when you subtract, you always start on the right side. So basically you have nothing and you're supposed to take away 5/8. You can't take 5/8 away from nothing. So you're going to go to these 4 holes and you're going to regroup so that you have 3 holes and we're taking away 8s and 8/8 like that. You still have 4. You know, if you have 1, 2, 3, wait. There we go. That's 4 either way. When that was, before I grouped that, it was 4 holes. Now it's 3 and 8/8, but it still makes 4. So you didn't change anything, except that by grouping it differently, now you have 8s to take away. So 8/8 minus 5/8 is 3/8. Now you have 3 holes, take away 2 holes, and that gives you 1 hole. Let's move over to number 3. You have 2 and you're taking away 1/5. Remember to do it right to left. You have no holes, no fractions, no halves from which to take away, 1/5. You have no fifths from which to take away 1/5. So you need to have some fifths. You'll take these 2 circles and you'll regroup one of them. So you're left with 1 whole circle and 1 circle in fifths, which would be written as 5/5. There you go. You still have 2 complete circles. They're just grouped differently. 5/5, take away 1/5 is 4/5, and you have 1. So 2 take away 1/5 is 1 4/5. And that makes sense. If you were to draw pictures, if you have 2 and you're taking away 1/5, let's see. You're taking away 1 of those fifths, you're left with 1 whole and 1, 2, 3, 4/5. You see? Let's move on to number 4. This is a little different. You have a mixed number and you're taking away a mixed number. You haven't had one like this before. Let's see how we'll handle this. So we'll start with the fractions 2/8, take away 3/8. Wait a minute. If you only have 2/8, you can't take away 3/8. So watch what I do. I want you to write this on your paper. You're going to take these 3 holes and you're going to separate them. You're going to regroup one of them so that you're left with 2 holes and then 8/8, right? You're taking away 8ths, so you need to cut them into 8ths. This is still 3. Then you've got 2/8 still. So it doesn't really help you to have this 8/8 over here. So we're going to cross this 8/8 out and we're going to add it to the 2/8. So now you have 10/8. 10/8, take away 3/8. 7/8. 2, take away 2 is that. How do you feel about that? Let's do some more. I think I might go ahead and do number 10 with you as well. So look at number 5. 5 1/3, subtract 4 2/3. If I have 1/3, can I take 2/3 away? Well, no. Just so you know, I'm starting with 5 1/3, right? So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm trying to make this into a third. Hold on. There we go. 5 1/3. There we go. I have 5 1/3, and I want to take away 4 2/3. If I only have 1/3, I can't take away 2/3. So I'm going to regroup one of these 5. I'm going to regroup this one. So now I have 4 wholes and 3/3. Like that. See, 1, 2, 3, 4 wholes and 3/3. But I already had the 1/3. So that's why I crossed this out. And so now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4/3. You see? So I've got 4/3, take away 2/3. Gives me 2/3. And then 4 take away 4 leaves 0, so just 2/3. Let's move down to number 7. 4 1/4, take away 2. Well, if you have 4 1/4, are you taking away any fractions? Nope. So you are left with 1/4. 4 take away 2, you're left with 2 wholes. You did not need to regroup on that one. What do you know? That's why you've got to think about what you're doing, and sometimes it might help to draw pictures if you're not completely sure. Number 8, 4 5/8, take away 1 1/8. If we have 5/8, can we take away 1/8? We can. 4/8. If we have 4 and we take away 1, gives us 3. We have 3 4/8. No regrouping again. Number 10, we have 6 1/6 minus 2/6. If we only have 1/6, we cannot take away 2/6. So we're going to go over to the 6 wholes and we're going to regroup them. The 6 wholes are going to become 5 6/6. The reason I regrouped it into 6ths is because I'm taking away 6ths. So I already have 1/6. So I'm going to take these 6/6 and join it with those. That gives me 7/6. 7/6 minus 2/6 is 5/6. And then we have 5. You see how that works? Hopefully you feel confident about these. There are, I see 2 of them left for you that won't require regrouping. The rest do. So be prepared that you don't have to regroup on every single one of them. So don't just start the problem and automatically regroup. Next one is, it also involves regrouping, but it's got one more step. If you notice, they have different denominators. So before you can even subtract, first you have to have fractions with the same denominator. So you've got to convert the fractions. So 2 8/9 minus 1 5/6. So I need to find the least common denominator of 9 and 6. This is my little strategy. I've got 9 and 6. My bigger one is 9. I'll go 9, 18, 27. 6 goes into 18. So my least common denominator is 18 times 3. That becomes 15. This is times 2. Huh. 16/18 minus 15/18. Do I need to regroup on this one? No, actually I don't. If I have 16, I can take 15 away. So I'm left with 1/18. 2 minus 1 is 1. Let's look at number 4. 1/3 minus 4/6. So it's the same denominator. The first denominator, bigger one is 6. 3 goes into 6, so they will both become 6ths. 3 times 2. So now I'm going to have to regroup. 2/6 minus 4/6. I can't do that. So I'm not going to worry about this part right here. This no longer matters. We've got 5 wholes. We're going to take those 5 wholes and regroup it to 4 and 6/6. Let me bring the 6/6 over with my 2/6. So that gives me 8/6 now. 8/6 minus 4/6 is 4/6. 4 minus 2 is 2. You're getting this right. Actually, I think it's a little bit easier doing it this way because with all this stuff in the middle, you've got more space to regroup and write your numbers. Okay, number 6. Okay, I first need a common denominator. My bigger denominator is 5, so I'll do 5, 10, 15. 2 goes into 10. So my new denominator will be 10 times 2 times 2. That's 6 times 5 times 5. That's 5. What do you know? I cannot regroup. I cannot subtract. All right, so let's go to my 4 wholes. Regroup it. Taking away tenths. So that means I will have 3 and 10 tenths, right? Make sure you're writing these on your paper. Make sure you're writing these steps. I'm going to take my 10 tenths and I'll add it to the 5 tenths I already have. That gives me 15 tenths. So now, 15 tenths minus 6 tenths would give me 9 tenths. 3 minus 2 gives me 1. 1 and 9 tenths. Go ahead and do these. One of these 3 does not require regrouping. 2 of them do. So be prepared so that you know which one of these is the easy one and you don't have to do the regrouping. Don't forget this page. Do both of these, please.